Private refineries are a key element in the reforms that we're expecting in downstream petroleum sector, and we have the first one up and running. We're joined in the studio today by Dr. Layi Fatona. He's the Managing Director of Niger Delta Exploration and Production. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today. First of all, give us a quick background on this project. This is obviously the first private refinery in Nigeria.
That's very correct, and I must restate here, it's a mini refinery. It's the first that is non-government owned, and that's why we say it's a privately owned facility.
Okay, let's very quickly, if you can just tell us what next for your company. I know your company is also invested in some of the OML34, which is one of the Shell assets that were sold. There's an expectation that you're going to be listed on the stock exchange next year. Tell us more about where you go from here.
Well, first and foremost, we are trying to build capacity. We have transformed the company from a simple oil producing company into a fully integrated asset owning company. We not just produce oil, we've just built a gas plant with 100 million standard cubic feet per day capacity. And with this refining capability that we've just added, I think we've grown in strength. And next thing we are going to do, in addition to this asset acquisition we are pursuing with Shell, is to try and take the company public.
Right, and I'm sure the market looks forward to that. The first company invested in the upstream oil segment of Nigeria. Quickly, can you talk a bit about local participation in the oil sector? It seems over the last 5 years, the international oil companies have been very reserved in their investing into Nigeria, and many people tell us that this is the time for the locals, and they've been obviously quite active with companies like Oando, Afren, etc.
That's very, very true. I think the time for Nigerian independent companies had come. The pace at which we take very small assets and work and sweat those assets, for profit, and the ultimate results and the reward that the government gets, the kind of impetus that makes this company and their survival very, very key to the future of the country. Yes, Nigerian independent companies currently are playing some very significant roles. In the last 4 or 5 years, they are the ones that are taking new investment decisions, and I think that's what's going to happen.
Right. Deregulation is a big topic. How critical is it for private refineries?
Well, I think deregulation is a little bit of a hype here. If Nigerians, and I can remember the rewards of deregulation in any industry, it has added value to people. Look at telecommunications, look at aviation. And I think the way Nigerians should look at deregulation is that when it comes to the petroleum industry, it can only create value for a lot more people than it is otherwise being discussed. Deregulation, we ought to have had it 10 years ago.
Right. Obviously, it has been a big policy investment risk for players in the oil sector. But what other risks can we anticipate going forward? We know, for instance, that the amnesty program that has been negotiated in the Niger Delta is something that has obviously stabilized the sector for the last 2 years. But is it really as good as it looks right now?
I think it is. It's a welcome development. I think it should be carried on to the letter. All the promises made by government ought to be seen to be in place, and I think, if anything, Nigeria would reap the rewards of the risks that are seemingly disappearing. As a result of this calm that the amnesty program had brought particularly into the Nigerian petroleum industry.
We look forward to that listing next year. Thank you for joining us.